We are keeping the football conversation going here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. He's Devin Tingle, and he is Paul Chivari. And we saw a lot of fireworks in the pro ranks when it came to physical altercations. But in the college world, things got a little bit crazier. And this comes to us from the AP News. There were 8 college football fights on Saturday. Week 14 of the college football season always brings extra energy, but this year was different as 8 fights emerged across some of the sport's biggest rivalries. The drama started early in Michigan versus Ohio State when Michigan attempted to plant its flag on Ohio State's midfield, sparking a brawl. Police got involved and even began pepper spraying players to break it up, and civilians got pepper sprayed. That set the tone for the rest of the day. NC State also planted a flag against North Carolina. Arizona State followed suit against Arizona with a pitchfork, and Florida did so against Florida State in the Sunshine Showdown rivalry. All of the losing teams weren't having it and responded. The situation in Florida and Florida State got so intense that Florida State head coach Mike Mercado grabbed Florida's flag and threw it in frustration. But the action across college football didn't stop there. Tensions flared at several other games, including Arkansas versus Missouri, Auburn versus Alabama, Notre Dame versus USC, and Texas versus Texas A&M. So I think where I want to start here, and it's the very base conversation of it, right, is you're dealing with college-age students and athletes. So already you're dealing with a very emotional, volatile group of humans and individuals. Is this dumb? Yes. Is it dumb that people are getting mad about planting flags and throwing down horns or throwing down the U or throwing up the U or whatever tradition maybe believe within every institute? But if you for 1 second actually believe the people clutching their pearls in these studio shows, and these studios are the same ones that next season are going to use them in highlight packages that are hyping up Michigan versus Ohio State. My friend, do I have a bridge to sell you? Paul, what do you think about all this?
Well, I didn't realize that Baker Mayfield is kind of like the ringleader behind this movement. And okay, so it's like pimping your home run in baseball, right? You know, it's like it's going to stick in the craw of those that don't like it and might have a violent reaction to it. You know, the high and tight fastball up at the ear hole or whatever in baseball. So I'm a proponent of, just beat the guy. Like sure. they wouldn't be planting the flag on your 50-yard line if you were on top on the scoreboard. Mm-hmm. But if I'm a coach, though, it's all right, you're going to let your kids do that on my field. Next time I got you, cornered at the ropes, I'm kicking a meaningless field goal if I'm up by 2 scores late in the game.
Fair game in 11 more.
I will run up the score on you and not respect my opponent if that's the case. But at the same time, they're kids. This doesn't really matter. I get it, but the only way you beat that is to beat them.
And they hype them up too. Like, let's not forget, football, amongst any other sports, loves to pretend it's the military, loves to pretend they're Spartans. Mm-hmm. And it's a physical sport, and it's a dangerous sport. All that is true. But we know these coaches love to talk as if the football field is a battlefield. It's a place of sport. Like, it's still a sport. It's a physical sport. It's a violent sport. So when you install that, though, from the age of 6 on, eventually you're going to have high emotion, high-strung athletes being like, no, you're disrespecting me. And here's the thing. It is disrespect. It is. That's the game. That is sports. Half of sports is trash talking in a respectful way, right? Like, you aren't planting a flag as if you just won over a country in the middle of a world war. You won a football game. And guess what? Ohio State, you lost 4 straight of them. So it's not like this is the first time you're losing against Michigan, And Ohio State has owned the rivalry for a long time. But I think that's also very dangerous, is that you have adults who are the ones that are hyping up these student athletes, these college athletes. What do you think, Devin?
Well, we're all, you see this with NFL fans. They just like their team. Something pretty intense. But if you're a fan of a college sports team, you're going to all the games that you can. And they seem to take it way more seriously than any pro fans ever I do know. Whether it's because they went to that college or they have family or friends that went there. I feel like people have much more of a connection with their college sports teams than their pro sports teams. And I guarantee it's probably because you can go to those schools and stuff. So the fact that people are getting this outraged does not surprise me, especially if it's the college thing. I mean, if you were paying if someone put a Packers flag outside the WCPD studios, I'd be pretty ticked off right now. I might yank it out. But again, like Paul said, they're just kids. They're messing around here. And I understand part of it is getting in your opponent's head. I mean, you see this in MMA and boxing all the time. You really think these guys hate each other? No, the trash talking is just to make it so they're madder. So when they get there, they're throwing punches left and right, not trying to actually make contact, not trying to throw good form and stuff like that. So this is just getting in your opponent's head. People are going to take it way too seriously like they always do. And again, college sports fans are probably the most dedicated I think you ever see in any sport.
So the only drawback to me, and I think this is what we could kind of finish off on, is what do they do moving forward? Because there is the possibility of a lawsuit, right? If you have something where they storm the field, you're planting a flag, and all it takes is one guy having a Myles Garrett moment and swinging a helmet, and that's the end of that, right?
Well, just a storm and just disco demolition, it's forfeit the game.
Yeah. But there's so many bad ways that it can end when you have that type of emotion going on. So does the NCAA, who has no spine and nobody has any belief in, but what do they do? Do they tell people, hey, Oklahoma students, you can't throw down the horns. Hey, Ohio State students, you can't plant the flag in the big house. Like, where is the line going to be drawn? Do they nip this in the butt? Isn't that what makes college football more unique than anything, is that they do care, that traditions do matter, that it is still in the heart and minds of the student athletes, the alma mater, the athletes, the community. It's something that's unique to it than any other sport, and it's the only sport that can compete in the United States with pro football. So there's a lot of different avenues to go. Paul, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, actually, college football and just kind of violence and rivalry goes hand in hand, going back all the way to the first game in 1869. After Rutgers defeated Princeton, the Princeton fans and players ran the Rutgers players out of town and chased them out of New Brunswick. So, I mean, the important thing I think we need to note is this is rivalry week. This isn't like, when Vanderbilt upset Alabama. I don't think they were planting a flag, although you could expect that, but I think instead it was in Nashville and the fans stormed the field. It was their home field. There's no flag to plant at their home stadium, so they just took the goalposts down to the river and threw them in there. It's always going to be chaotic. It's college kids. It's rivalries. Let the kids play. Don't worry about the flag. It's super petty, but I think, if you're a coach and the opposing team does that to you, and you're the other team's coach is okay with their players doing that in the away stadium, run up the score the next time. Beat them bad. Go for two every time you score a touchdown. Just beat them to a bloody pulp, and you'll never ever have to worry about flag planting ever again.
I miss the days when you just stole their mascot.
There you go. Or punch their mascot.
Yeah. Have the mascots fight. That's what happens now. They let the mascots in full uniform.
I remember, what was it, the Stanford Tree in the early 90s, I think, in the UCLA Bruin or the California Golden Bear were fighting. Look it up.
It's amazing. I think put it on the coaches. It's your responsibility. Get your players off the field too. Get them ready to kick that team's ass next year, but make sure that they're not in any position to be in any danger to do anything stupid. We want to know your thoughts. What do you think? Should they be banning these things? Should there be flag planting? What do you think after a very interesting, emotional weekend in college football? It was a very emotional weekend on the gridiron in general. But look about it. We call it the gridiron, for God's sakes, and then we expect them all to be just lovey-dovey and not be hyped up after hyping them up. And keep in mind that as Paul is showing us in studio, here come the mascots. It's a left, it's a right. The Oregon Duck is circling.
Yeah, I can't tell what the other mascot is. It's like a red jersey and a cat of some sort.
It looks like a wildcat.
Yeah.
Who ends up winning that fight?
I don't know. It looked like it was just, oh, wait, no. Okay, yeah, the duck goes on top of the Houston Cougar.
The Oregon Duck goes over. The Oregon Duck goes over just like they might in the college football playoffs this season. He's Paul Chivari. He's Devin Tingle. I'm Mike Mercado. Let us know what you think about this situation going on in college football. We got a whole lot left on this edition of the Sports Cubicle here on WCPT. The tale of the tape